Dr. Cheryl Meyer. I gotta pay attention to the road. But I felt like talking to you guys. I wanted to let's just do a chat. Let's do a chat, because I was already this way this morning. I saw 2 clients, and I had another meeting out this way, anyway. Let's talk about not settling in relationships. How about that? Right? It seems like I'm going to just talk about nothing, but I work so hard to know the highest and best truths in my life, because I have a high standard for myself, and not because I have to prove anything to anybody, but because I want to love well, and because I want, you learn what you want by what you experience when you don't want. So there's the yin and the yang, the dark and the light. We come from the oneness, and then we experience life here, and we experience like the good things we want to experience, and then the negative or not so good things that really sucked, that hurts. That's the clinical term. I'm a psychologist. I have been for 20 years, even though I know I'm 28. I won't talk about this weird age thing I have. It's not me. It's just like I float around just ageless. Like, I don't see myself with an age, because I live in my soul. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so how to not settle. So what we learn in childhood is that we I spent like this whole week with a 19-year-old. We were just resonating, talking, working on stuff, because it was just a conference I was at. And then my friend that I met skating the other day is 21. I love him. I love him so much. And I have a lot of young clients that age. But anyway, we learn from childhood, right? What we didn't want, what we didn't get from our parents. Wherever our parents were in lower consciousness, or not knowing, or they were still just disconnected from themselves and inundated with their own pain. When you're identified, this is the reality of it. Let's just call it the reality. Is when you're identified with your own pain, it's all about yourself. You become really, really selfish. And I've noticed that, and I was just like, wow, I didn't realize how selfish I was being in a lot of these ways, because I was all about my own pain and being lost in it. Lost is like hooked in. You get identified with your own pain, and you define yourself by that pain, because really you don't have the courage. You don't know that it's a lack of courage, but it is a lack of courage. I can tell you now. Look at this beautiful sun. I knew the sun would be coming out for us, because I'm driving to go skate at sunset. I gotta get my exercise in, and I love it, and so I love the sun. I just love it. When you're inundated by your own pain, and you're lost in it, and you identify yourself as I'm a victim, then you have this, quote, secure relationship. You have this secure identity, a relationship with yourself as one of, oh, let's play this violin. She's a victim. I know her. I can define her. It's kind of like if I didn't know who I was going to be in high school or something, I'll just be punk rock, because that's something, punk is pretty important, I think, the movement, and anarchy, all that stuff, just for people to be, to observe how they're living and how they're just going by with life and accepting everything and accepting the status quo. Anyway, it's not about just rebelling. It's about actually being your authentic self, learning how to be your authentic self. But see how I was talking about, I didn't know when I said, I'm out of light now. Let's talk about settling in relationships. Well, you settle in this relationship with yourself. You're settling with how you're defining yourself, because it's easy to define myself. It's easy to define myself as a victim, right? That's just a set. I love this sun. That's just a set identity. It's one where you don't have to use a lot of imagination and creativity. You just accept that definition. Because what's underneath that? What do you dare to see if you don't accept yourself as, I'm a victim of all these things and it's so sad? And, I had horrible heartbreak, and let me tell you, that hurt so bad. It hurt more than anything I'd ever experienced. I can say it hurt more than childbirth, and that childbirth was really painful. And I didn't even have a natural birth. I had part of me wasn't drugged. I could feel it. Anyway, so painful the days after. Anyway, I won't go into that. If anyone's pregnant, it's great. It's all worth it. Your kids are worth it. Anyway, but it was really, really painful. And so the Buddha says something about, suffering being an illusion, or suffering has to do with your desire. If I don't know, mine just felt like physical, like I was bowled over in a puddle on the floor in a ball, suffering, it felt like someone had just punched me 1,000 times in the stomach. But so I didn't feel like I made that up. I didn't know how it happened. That was a new experience for me. But it motivated me to learn all these things. It broke my heart wide open so that I can learn how to love on a deeper level now. I'm far enough removed from it, not with a hardened heart, but with like a more giant heart, a heart as big as the sky, as big as the sun, I pray, I was praying this thing called St. Patrick's lorgnocha, or shield, or breastplate of St. Patrick. And it's like, it calls on the sun and the moon, and it's like from the 500s, I think, or 300s. It's a beautiful prayer, but it's like, let the sun shine through me, bright like the sun, the wind, the stars, the starry heaven, the deep earth rocks. I was praying it for a lot of people for Christmas. I don't know if I ought to say that. Maybe I ought to include the link. It's really good. All right, I was just check. So stay with me if you want to learn this stuff. I know it seems like rambling right now because I'm just letting the flow come through me. So when you have the great experiences, you are like, this is great. I want to replicate this. I want to learn this. Your brain's like, yeah. Your soul's like, yeah. This feels like alignment. This feels like what it felt like in heaven, in oneness with divine love, with God, And so it's like our soul wants to return to that. That's what it has a memory of that, but it's like forgetfulness is over that memory. So we have this beautiful experience of the good, of the beautiful, of the blissful, of what's truly love, And I understand why people run after, trying to get that in some quick way, Some guy called me the other day, and it was the weirdest thing. I won't say it here. I said it in a private group, and they were all cracking up laughing. What happened? I was like, no. Some guy video called me. I was like, wait a second. And then I understand. I appreciate this really, really good-looking guy from LA, from Hollywood, like an actor person. And I can't say more. But I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is so gorgeous. Like, he was so gorgeous. But what he was offering was not what I was wanting. It wasn't a match, you know. In my private group, they're like, the maitre d' from the sky was just asking you, is this what you wanted? And I'm like, no, thank you. I'd like a different table, please. I try so hard to just be open to new experiences, but you know, I have my boundaries, and thank God my boundaries were kept, but it was just still so strange, you know. But what I look at it and I observe, and I do my best not to judge. I'm at another light, not to judge ever, not to judge anybody at all, ever, because it's such a waste. Life is so precious. It's like worth so much more than judging people. Just let them be where they are, and you know, and the more you can, like, obviously set your own boundaries so you're in your own integrity and you can still laugh and enjoy to the extent of not ever, you know, I never want to use anybody, and I don't want to let myself get used, but I want to serve with love. But I could appreciate that this guy was just, you know, Tony Robbins was teaching us that we have this longing for a variety. So we all want variety. But it's just like, you know, taking something. There's a quote by my friend, Elliot Smith. And he said, and he might have put it in a song too, but he said, I don't take things just because I can, you know? Just because you can take something doesn't mean you ought to take something. Doesn't mean it's yours to take. It's stealing if you take it outside of the context of what it's meant to be, you know? It's like there's a church right here on the corner. Let's see. Oh, Queen of Angels. That's so beautiful. Our Lady, Queen of Angels, right? And so it just came to mind. It's like if someone went in and like took all the communion bread before it was blessed, you know, a bunch of wafers. It's like, what's the point of taking that? Because you think that you're going to have union with the divine, because it looks like it. It's the same substance, but it hasn't been blessed yet. It hasn't been offered up to God. I was taught by someone, it's like if you can't take it in true thanksgiving, then it's not yours to take. And you can only thank, you know, divine love, aka God, for something that has been given to you, you know? It's like, if I'm like, thanks for these 3 husbands, and these 3 husbands were not given to me, you know, then I don't know, that's just, and we're talking about relationships. Don't be greedy. But it's like just taking something that's not mine, you know. It's kind of like if I went next door and went into my neighbor's house, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna take your house. Like, I love your stuff. This feels great, you know. Thanks. They'd be like, call the police, get me out. You know, like it's not mine to take, even though it might feel good. What if they have like, you know, an infinity pool and they don't? But if they did, you know, and a hot tub, in a hot tub. And all these great things, you know, it's like just because they do, there might be a reason why I haven't created that in my own life now. And so to just take that because it's within my eyes reach, you know, or my hands grasp, is it's really robbing from yourself and robbing from someone else, you know. I've been really contemplating what manifesting is lately. And, you know, like, sure, if someone wants to invite you over to their hot tubs, you can feel what it feels like to be in, like, a luxurious place and get used to that feeling so that you can be like, yeah, this is something I'd love to replicate in my own life because it feels relaxing, you know? I'm at ease. It reminds me of what my soul feels like all the time. You don't have to have a bunch of expensive stuff to feel that. Get in the present moment. The thing is people don't realize that they can have all of this in such a beautiful way, and you don't have to steal it. Like as cute as that guy was, man, as good looking as he was, like, what he was offering was not appealing to me. He was saying something, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, who likes that? Who likes that? I asked him this. He's like, lots of women. I'm like, okay, I don't know what kind of women you're talking to, but that's not appealing. And it's not making fun of the person. It's just that the person is a stranger, you know? I don't even want to get peachy here. Like, it's already. Anyway, I don't know. I don't pay attention to the outside world. I'm in my lane. I'm doing what I feel called to do, and I definitely don't feel like I'm, you know, like above other people, because I see how lost I was in my own pain, in my own suffering, and identification with that. And just, I would, you know, it's not something I tried to do on purpose. It was just trying to solve this old problem from childhood, from the pain of taking on my parents' sadness and my parents' rejection, and thinking it was my own, and then experiencing it as my own, because they were teaching us that, you know, you got to be rejected a lot. It's so weird, because you don't have to live life that way. But there's the manifesting, is if you act as if you have to live life in a rejected state and in a victim state because it's a secure identification, you know, then feel free. Like, go try that. I tried that a lot. That's why do you think I'm making over 400 videos? I want to help people not go down that road, to have a higher consciousness, higher road, a road of lots and lots and lots and lots of love, and feeling good, and knowing who you are apart from a victim person. And, you know, you are not defined by your past. I met a woman, and I can't tell her story because it was in our group, and I don't want to share her story, but just, you know, people go through horrific things, and they're so beautiful. This is such a beautiful woman, you know, and I've seen this a lot. People have gone through horrific things, but you're not defined by that. You're not defined by your past. You're not defined by what someone did to you, okay? And no matter how much you got programmed by that and taught, you know, that sometimes they say hurt people. Sometimes you learn that you really don't ever want to hurt people, and you still end up hurting people. I understand that, but we want to heal these things so you're not defined by them. Because if you keep defining yourself by them, then let's say if I keep saying I'm a victim, then I'm going to try to do everything I can, maybe, let's say, to please people, to try to not be a victim anymore. And so it's like what you're blocking, what you keep running away from, is what you perpetuate, is what you create. I have an appointment right now, so the message is there, and I'm like, I really got to get to it. It's an optional appointment, but it's one I'm committed to. It's what helps me make all these videos for you guys, so I don't want to just stay in that. I love you so much. I'm making this for you, even though you're a stranger to me. I'm making it because I don't want you to be stuck in the pain of your past. I don't want you to define yourself by that. It's your life, you know. They say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And they say, like, people have to pay or they don't pay attention. But I'm like, I'm still making all these for free because I want you to be free. I want you to know that this is food for your soul, and I do this out of love from my heart and out of like this compassion, because I know how much pain I've suffered by staying in these old identities, by defining myself by how people treated me, you know. It's really boring. Don't do it. You have a purpose inside of yourself. Find that. Become that. Stay in your lane. You get so lost. I love how LaToya Okia says it. You got so lost in your purpose, and that you just don't even have time for the rest of this. You're not even looking at how many likes or who's looking at. I haven't seen who's seen my story in like a year probably. I don't know. You know, sometimes I'll just see because I'm uploading something else, or I'm making a cover of a picture on my Instagram, and I use whatever will work. But all right, I'm gonna honor the appointment that I have to go to. I wish you so much love. Thanks for coming by. Watch all my videos. They're teaching you about life so you don't have to suffer. All right, I love you so much. Ask me any questions in the comments and I'll start making videos on it. I love you. I want you to have access to good medicine, good therapy, even if you don't have money for therapy, right? Right? You're worth it. You are worth it. Do the inner work. Get in higher consciousness, and all this stuff can heal. It can. I had to pay so much money to get this knowledge. You have no idea. Like, honestly, empty out everything I have. And that's what it is to find the pearl of great price. And you are that pearl, right? You're worth it. You're worth everything I've spent. So I wish you love.